about an example, not because this particular topic is crucially important, but I think it represents some of the current climate around cancel culture. Black Lives Matter. Racism in this country is a problem. But I think the many people I spoke to around specifically the Black Lives Matter movement was the struggle was not with saying at a fundamental level Black Lives Matter, but it seemed as if the broader movement had sort of aligned itself. Sort of the implication was by saying Black Lives Matter, you're also sort of affirming the much broader agenda around several topics, in particular the LGBTQ. And so there was struggle with, well, how do I say, and then we're being told who didn't, put out there our, color our LinkedIn pages with a black flag was, oh, then you don't support anything, you're racist. So how do you pull apart these topics where it seems, again, in culture, agreeing to a particular thing actually means you're trying to affirm a broader agenda? And I may have problems with the broader agenda. That's the comment on that. Help me understand that, because I struggle with that personally, and I think, and that's one of many places I'm trying to figure out.
I think I want to tease out a couple of things of what you just said there. So one is, I think part of the problem is this pressure that you may be feeling to publicly align yourself with a particular cause in a way that's quite visible. So you mentioned a profile photo or maybe like a Facebook post or a LinkedIn or what have you. And I personally think that social media is the worst place to have these conversations. We actually at some point considered writing a chapter in the book about having these conversations on social media, and we ultimately abandoned it because we felt like, well, it's just a mess. I think if you want to have productive conversations on these topics, maybe log off and talk to people face to face. So I think the challenge that I would give back to anyone saying, oh, well, why don't you have, this flag or this slogan or this whatever on your social media profile would be, I personally would say, well, I just don't like having these conversations on social media. It's not that I don't agree or support a lot of, issues. It's just that I find that social media flattens and oversimplifies issues that are really quite complex, and I prefer to express my support in other ways. And so I think there, when you are actually talking with people or having more nuanced conversations, I think is where you can tease out those differences that you're describing, right? Because you might be able to say, here are the ways that I do support the Black community. Here are sort of the things that organizations that I donate to or things that I'm involved in my community, without having to signify in some, visible way that you are a member of a particular movement broadly defined. But I kind of feel like, logging off and having these nuanced conversations is a better way to approach it.